Alright, I think we're live. Yeah, we're live. Alright, let me just double check my stuff. Twitch is fine, I guess. Me too. Yeah, it's doing okay. And Facebook, we're doing okay. Alright. Let me just sell my stuff here for a bit, and we're alright. Wow, this song is a bit mellow, but that's fine. Alright. Alright. We're gonna turn this layer off. We don't want that yet. That's for the final pizzazz. For now, we're gonna finish painting some of the details of this painting. So that's the smoke layer effect. Here we're just gonna finish painting the face. Yep. So I managed to transfer most of my brushes. You can see here. Those are my Photoshop brushes. And I bind them on different shortcuts. So these are my manga brushes. I got the G pen. Some of the basic brushes there. Down to this is the basic my basic painting brushes that was imported from Photoshop, and this is another brush set I grabbed from my online course I bought from Wingfox, I think Wingfox, and this is another set of special brushes, like you could paint trees and shit with these. Yeah, we have rocks and all of those stuff, but I barely use them, mostly for finishing touches or basic blockouts of shapes. Hi Ulan! Kamusta? So we're just gonna start painting this face, add more features, maybe smoothen out. So in the final, okay, a bit of a rundown. I finished the lighting setup I want with this painting. Also added a bit of details, but nothing finished. I'm still gonna do some overpaint of these areas, especially the jacket or the long coat. Okay lang kuya. Yeah. I'll try not to cuss. Ulan here is my brother, and he's still a bit too young, so I'll keep it PG. We have we're gonna set. I already set the lighting, basic structure of the piece, and we're gonna add more details here and there as we go. This is the most laborious task in a painting. It's finishing, trying to finish a painting, which is I think that's one of the main reasons there's a lot of work in progress because the most of the thinking part comes at the beginning part, right? You need to do your anatomy, composition, gesture, drawings, basic balance of the piece. That's where the planning phase is. Your brain that's the most stimulation you get in a painting, and once you plan it out and you want to finish it, you have to work on the fundamentals, which is, you know, how lighting would interact with this setup, right? How to render materials, and you know, the basic rendering of the piece. And that takes less active thought, active thinking. It comes down to how well you know your fundamentals. So it's, for some, it's the most laborious task, because in your head you already saw the painting finished, and you just have to meet that vision or version of the painting in your head to the actual painting. So that's what we're trying to do here with any work in progress. Where did this come from? Oh. That's weird. Let me hunt that down. Maybe it's from the guy. Yeah, it's from the guy. I'm just gonna add... No, I'm gonna delete that layer. So I wish I could show you the layer setup I have, but it's not much. I'm painting on like 5 layers, and as soon as I finish like a foreground or a part of the painting that is of the same like layer, right? Foreground, midground, background, I just merge them to those 3, so I don't have to micromanage my layers, because I really don't like working like that. But at least it allows me to work on stuff without, you know, repainting everything. If I'm gonna paint on top of a layer. Those are face setups. Alright. So later on, I'm gonna merge those layers. Right now I'm just trying to add some facial structures here and there. So yeah, so far Clip Paint Studio is really good for painting. I've been experimenting with it, because I used to paint solely in Photoshop, and I do my manga work and comics here in Clip Paint. And since they have that function in the recent update that allows you to export brushes from Photoshop, the ABR files, directly to Clip Paint Studio. Yeah, it's a really easy way to paint here, because I haven't experimented with the brushes in whip paint, but there's so much there's so much workflow I picked up from Photoshop that I want to bring to Clip Paint Studio, and that update allows me to do that. So I'm slowly transitioning to mainly working with Clip Paint Studio for for illustrations, paintings, and comics. I'm gonna keep Photoshop just so I could quickly draw or make memes or do some quick edits. So right now, the trappings of this is maybe painting too much, focusing on one area too long or too much, and you'll find you might find yourself overpainting one area and spending too much time on that. So that's what I'm being conscious about right now. I'm thinking, okay, I painted the basic structure, so it's time to move on. And there's like because there's a whole part of the painting that I need to work on. Also adding some shadows here and there, not too much. I don't want him to have those creases too pronounced, just barely, just to show that there's some facial tension there. That would show a bit of the smile here. And I will add some dent in the skin, like Da Vinci smoke. Yeah, you could call it I don't know if it's the same with it's the same with ambient occlusion, kinda, I guess. It has the same elements and has the same effect. So here, maybe I'm gonna keep this yellow here because this is a reflection of the light. Hey Polly, what's up? I'm finishing it. No, I just had a cough recently, and this is my voice now. I'm just kidding. Polly's asking, my voice changing? Like, did I change my voice? No, I just kind of speaking through my throat instead of my usual nasally voice. So that's that. I'm also planning to make a virtual avatar somewhere around here. So yeah, that's in the works. We're gonna work on. All right. So there's a lot. I need some edge details here. I need to define my edges. So edges is where, because in painting you don't really draw, right? There's no lines to separate edges, like the edge of this long coat and the edge of his neck, right? There's no line separating those, and what separates them is edge, like the edge of the color. Those edges define, where the lines meet. And there's basically 3 types of edges, I think, if I remember correctly. The soft edge, or the hard edge, and then the lost edge. So here I'm gonna put some hard edge in here. So we use the hard round brush right there, so I could clearly define the neck. So add a sharp. Usually edges comes into play, you know, I saw some artists use it at the last bit of their painting, because they treat it like a signature. Some artists treat it like a signature, especially the lost edge. You know, what part of the painting they want to have this ambiguous, you know, part or a section. Like, they would usually make an edge lost, so it leaves the interpretation to the viewer. So yeah, to some artists, it's their signature. They want to have that as a unique properties of their style and painting. For me, I don't know. I'm not sure how I would approach that. I'm still trying to figure out my own style. So maybe in the future I'll think about it, or maybe it'll come naturally. Because for now, I'm mostly trying to do some. I know I have maybe realistic, but I can't really pull off photoreal illustrations. So I could try, but it's really hard. My fundamentals aren't that strong, so that's a lot of work I need to keep working on. Especially photography fundamentals, like how light interact with things in a photograph that would make it look like a photoreal image. That I have very little, you know, I have some insight, but I haven't really developed it to the extent that I'm comfortable using it in my work. So yeah, it's still in the learning phase. So here I'm just gonna add more shadows. Oops, it's auto-saving. Thank you, Clip Paint Studio. It's gonna take a bit of seconds. Oops, what was that? Hi TNT Dynamite. TNT, not Dynamite. Yeah, creating photorealistic images seems like its own section of art sometimes. Yeah, that's correct. It's more of how the human eye actually perceives light, and styles, you know, personal techniques doesn't really come into play in that. So you need to study cinematography, photography, and you know, and really nail down the fundamentals. And that's really taxing, but it's really good when it comes to concept art for films, especially films. It's really good there. I mean, there are shortcuts to kind of speed the process, but you still need to learn and understand how to approach, how to replicate photoreal images. So even though you could like photo bash stuff, if you have if you don't have a full grasp of the concept of how photorealism works, it's gonna come off weird. So yeah, I'm still on that weird part. I can't pull it off quite comfortably. So it's more like, if I've ever kind of pulled it off, it's more of a beginner's luck. I stumbled upon it, and I would pray that I would also get it the next time. That's how I roll. Gently that time. Yeah, you gotta learn the foundation before you learn. Yeah, that's totally correct. Shortcuts is there to speed the process, but if you don't know how to drive, you're gonna crash. Right? Yeah. It's like the advanced strats, but you need to learn how to walk first before you can run. here I'm just adding more details. So this here is some sort of a braid, but I need to add forming here on this braid because it's kind of scribbly lines. I forgot the noodling. Yeah, it's more of a noodling at this point. So I need to add structure in that. So what I learned about doing this process of having everything laid out, color, lighting. Thanks for the follow, Ulan. So yeah, what I learned from this process that I've recently learned or figured out is once I laid out the lighting, composition, and everything. Thanks for the follow, TNT Not Dynamite. It becomes more easier to overpaint stuff because I don't have to guess, right? Since I already laid out the lighting, the colors. Before I would do just black and white. I would try to finish like 70% finish a painting just with black and white. And when it comes to coloring the part, it's really hard for my brain to grasp the relationship of lights and colors, of light and color. So with this, I could separate, like, okay, I need to do lighting first, and then the color, and then some value here and there. And then when I start actually painting, everything it's like the groundwork is already there. So for me, it gives me a bit of an easier time than before. So yeah, that's a bit of an advice. If you're having have multiple art process that you're comfortable with, so that if you can't do a painting in one way, try changing the process, so it refreshes you up and gives you insight on what could be the problem on what you're doing. So that's what really kind of gives me more insight in my work. So I'm just doing some so the braid should come to the middle, and then it should also come to the side, but it's an alternating crisscross. So I need to maintain the shape. Now we're just we're gonna add more value right behind the ears, and the ear, I need to work on that ear. That's an underdeveloped ear. So this is the most, I guess, fun part of painting, like just doing the details. The hardest part is planning it out. That's the first like 10 minutes. First 10 minutes is the hardest, because you don't know what to draw, you don't know or what to put in the painting, and that all comes in on that like 10-minute time frame. But you know, the most fun part is like filling out the details of the painting, because that is where you could see it's forming into fruition. So the first part is mostly, you know, making sure that you're okay enough with the painting to finish it. That's actually the hardest. So planning, figuring out if you're okay with it, and then deciding if you're comfortable enough with the layout and everything you plan to finish it. That's kind of, that second part is where a painting might make or break the final phase. So yeah, most painting die on the second phase, especially if you are nitpicky with composition and general, just your general direction or look. It would help if you could, one of the common workflow. Yeah, you need to set your goal straight first. Yep, that's correct, NT. And yeah, it would help if you could come up with some thumbnails first. Plan different scenarios out, so you could plan a bit, just prepare and work on the one that you really like. So I think I have my thumbnails here, but these are mostly initial sketches. Oh, it's on the other layer. Now we're just really dialing in the hair. I kind of like the heart shape and how it crisscross how the braid works. Just make sure, I just need to remember how to structure a braid like that. Like this, here, and here. There's like a value change here because it's hitting some of the light that is escaping through this part, right? So I want to have some value shift right here. So I'm color picking the areas where I want that value shift to happen. And here I'm just adding more of those details. There you go. And I really love this stream beats. This is, what is this playlist? Yeah, it's a synthwave playlist from Stream Beats. Yeah, it's really cool, right? It's actually free. You could stream with this. It's from Stream Beats of Harris Heller. So he made this playlist for streamers like us, and it's copyright free, and it's really dope. It's really good to play in your stream and also hear while working on stuff. Alright, just adding more here, making sure that we are maintaining that form. So the shadow could change, right? So as it's turning, it turns this way. So make sure I bring up the value too, especially on the crevices of the braid. Here I'm just gonna add more of those shadows here and there. There we go. And just add here, I could just block out the shadows because it kind of curls inward. There we go. Just adding more hints of color here and there. use some bounce light over here, just so we could be what do you call this? Consistent. TNT not dynamite. I always wanted to try drawing art, but it seems hard to get started sometimes. Yeah, I agree with you. Especially when there's too much distraction around you, right? For me, I've been trying to do this for at least 9 years now, and there's always distraction for me, and it's hard to get started. But you know, the deadline is always a nice inspiration. That's what I would say. The deadline. But yeah, if you're starting learning drawing, just take your time. There's no rush in trying to learn. And what I would advise is learn smart, not grind it out like an RPG. There are ways that you could learn smart. Like there's a ton of free resources online that you could follow on YouTube. Modern Day James, Fengsu, QBrush, they all make great tutorials, and I learned a lot from those guys. And I'm a self-taught artist, so you know it's gonna take a while, but if you could find yourself a mentor, that would just speed up the process of learning. It would take you around 2 years of just drawing. Try to draw something every week. Doesn't need to be every day, but just get the hang of sketching and drawing. Even though the main factor is there should not be pressure, because you will not enjoy the feeling of drawing if you're pressuring yourself. You just need to enjoy it. Time to have you as a mentor. I'm not sure if I could qualify as a mentor. I'm still learning. So Lucid Pixel, I would recommend Lucid Pixel. He gives a lot of art advice for learning artists like you and I, and he really like humanized the entire process of learning art. It's not like this magical God-given gift. It's more of how you actually take care of yourself as any career. So yeah, I mean, yeah, welcome to the stream. I'll be happy to tell you any questions or insights. But yeah, there's a lot more well-seasoned artists on YouTube. But again, thank you for considering me as a mentor. It's just I'm not really that confident to be teaching someone. Maybe just making videos about stuff that I think I'm comfortable talking about. That's as far as I would take it. Alright, so now we're just finishing up the form of the braid here. We don't have to be really on the nose or on point with the details, because it will come a bit more later. So at the very end there, I kind of mess up my my details here. So let me work on that a bit more. Just make the outline a bit more pronounced. Alright. So now let's see what would it look like on the far end. Yeah, kinda looks decent. I need to work on those because I want this part to be ornamental a bit, like some etchings. So, how often a week do you usually draw? Well, nowadays I actually work as a comic artist freelance, so that would take me around, the usual working hours. I try to separate it, like for 8 hours I will work on commissions, and then I'll also work on my personal comics, so that will take me another 3 to 4 hours, and then 2 hours for game and stream. So yeah, you gotta take time to play games. I mean, it's not mandatory, but it takes off the pressure of just 100% doing focusing on one thing, because the problem with that is you might get burnt out, and trying to recover from a burnt out is an entire different beast. So I've been burnt out before multiple times, and it took me months to recover from it. So take it easy, make sure you have fun, and in a relative responsible manner. But yeah, schedules are there to be broken. It's not like set in stone, right? But you could really figure out what you're gonna do next, right? Instead of just you don't have to follow it on the dot, but you could just plan out what you're gonna do next. So yeah, for a learning artist, maybe 2 hours a day is more than enough. Just make sure you focus on one thing you want to learn, like anatomy, composition, gesture drawings, basic values. So I would start enhancing your drawing skills. Yeah, that's completely true. You gotta separate work time from pleasure. But though it's a blessed thing to have a pleasurable job, right? I feel really what do you call this? It's really fulfilling. Trying to work on something that you think it's cool, like DnD characters, all this stuff, and that alone is a reward. So not all people could say that about their job. So if you work hard enough to chase what you really want, you'll definitely get some compensation for it. But just be responsible enough and reasonable with it. Because when I started, I just dropped everything and learn to teach myself how to draw. And it kind of took me way longer than if I take it easy and learn a structured process to do that. So yeah. All right. Yeah, dude. I now realize that TNT Dynamite. It's fine. It's fine. So we are back on trying to figure out what to focus next on this piece. So we're gonna turn that off because it's just in the way for now, and we wanna focus on drawing the vest. So maybe some highlight here, because in this setup, in this lower part here, there's a basic candle setup. So I want to show that there's like a secondary light source here, and then on the top there's like a magical light hue, something foggy, misty light, and that would be the basic set of that. And that's why I wanted this to have because it's a golden ring. It's like a rim something. Here I'm just gonna add more of that rim light. And this is another aspect of painting that I'm still not comfortable with, rendering materials. Yep. Because if you found out that you're not alone the whole time, then yeah. Especially on drawing comics, like if you, yeah, it happened in one of my commissions actually. So yeah, what I do is I just try to reduce the layer opacity and then just draw on top of it, because it depends. It didn't happen to me like I'm almost done with the page and then I realize I'm on the sketch layer. Yeah, thankfully it hadn't happened to me yet. Yes, materials are they react differently to light, especially on clothes. So you don't need to be like really perfect with it, but you could mimic some of the properties they have, like reflectivity, basic textures. But let me zoom out a bit here so I could work on this piece a bit more, in time pacing. Because when you zoom in like that, you're gonna focus on a small part of your painting, and it will take you years or months to finish a painting like that. So it's better to zoom out. And this is my constant. I had to remind that myself, because sometimes I would dawdle in this area for hours. Not realizing what the fuck am I doing here, and then I realized, oh, there's a lot of things to paint. So I have to keep a mental note on that. Sometimes you get to absorb in what you're doing, that you kind of lost track of everything else. Like that. Adding more stuff here and there. The only thing I barely know about lighting on the self is from Blender Unity. Oh, so you could have a 3D model and just import it to your server and VR chat. I didn't know. I don't have VR chat, so I didn't know that's how that game works. So yeah, it's the same thing. I mean, I tried to learn ZBrush before when I was working in a studio here in the Philippines, and it's almost the same actually. What you're doing in digital painting is just replicating the illusion, but what you're doing is a three-dimensional object, even though it's a 2D plane. Having a sip of water there. It tastes So that's why I could find like any IP IP model, any model from any IP in the game. I've seen Donkey's video and Syracuse. What was his name? Syracuse. The good feel VR chat guy. Like he let people tell their stories through VR chat. It's a feel good channel. Skymore? I forgot the name, but it sounds like that. Skymore or Symore. The one with the kid. The most wholesome kid in VR chat. Yeah, I forgot about the name. Oh, I remember the last thing you said. Do good, die great. I love that. Yeah. I mean, before I don't understand the pull of VR chat or any MMO that is more social than being an actual game, until I recently joined an RP group, which is okay. I realized this is how it should feel like, but I realized I still want to play DnD instead of RP chat, because when I make a character, I want that character to do stuff and not just idle around. So maybe it reflects how I would usually write characters. You know, more of an active role. Okay, so just like that, I'm done with the inner part of that color. But now I'm trying to finish up the rims, the gold trimmings of his coat. But how am I gonna do that? So maybe we could add some value changes here and there. Maybe a reference would help. Yeah, it does give them a lot more of a human character. I think my music is too loud. Someone said that to me. Let me just lower it down a bit. 70. Alright, now we're back at it. I'll just bring that up back. Do you need the VR setup for VR chat, or you could use it with the mouse and keyboard? That's what I really didn't know about VR chat, because when it depends on the, I guess it depends on what VR setup you want. Oh, okay. You don't need an actual VR setup. That's good to know. Yeah, because like the Oculus one is expensive, and the Steam version is also expensive. I need to grind a lot of commissions for that. Now I'm doing some hard edges here and there. Finishing up painting. Maybe tomorrow maybe tonight I could finish this, and tomorrow I could work on another commission. But after this, I'm still gonna draw, so I'm gonna draw other commissions that I'm not streaming, because it's gonna be not for general audience. Oh, nice, that's cool. Yeah, you know the one. I don't stream like hardcore stuff, but I do stream lewd etchy illustrations, which is coming on Wednesday, I think. I used to have this lewd Wednesday schedule, but I realize it's kind of hard to keep up with illustrations if you're gonna wait an entire week to keep drawing them, and once you do it off stream, then it's not going to be recorded like how you finish the entire thing. So if I just remove the scheduling part of what to stream, and I'll just stream things that I want to stream till completion. So it'll be more consistent with the uploads and the chronological order of things. Yeah, I'll let you know when it comes, once it's there. Yeah. I think I finished 2 illustrations on my streams, but I forgot to clip them, so they just got yeeted out of Twitch. But I have it on YouTube. Yeah, I'm not aware that you should like VOD your clips or your streams here on Twitch. And yeah, I kind of lost a lot of stuff. But I multi-stream, so it's also on YouTube and Facebook, so it isn't really much. So it's still there. It's just not here on Twitch. So maybe I'm gonna add more rim light on the shoulders. Technically, it shouldn't pick too much rim light because it's angled forward, right? And let me just draw that. So this is the back, his lateral muscles, and that's the edge of the coat, right? The shoulder part. So this socket right here is actually angled forward. So this part of the clothes here shouldn't pick light coming behind the figure. But I'm gonna make it like a artistic decision to put some rim light there, just because composition wise it looks great like that. So yeah, that's one thing. You don't need to follow it. The fundamentals are there just to set you up, but it's up to you to, you know, flare it up and mix it a bit. You don't have to follow it like to the T. But of course, I'm not gonna be overdoing it. It's just barely enough so I could make a silhouette and break the line from the background to the character, which is a good composition trick. There you go. Yep. Sometimes art seems like a dance. Yep, it is. Like you need to balance things out. If you just do fundamentals, it should balance things out. Like you don't have to follow the fundamentals to the T. But if a certain rule, if you break a certain rule, but it will add so much to the painting, that's way better than just following the rules. We're artists. We barely follow the rules. We don't draw. We don't color inside the lines. So yeah, that's correct. It's a tango, or more of a balancing act. So maybe I'm doing a bit too much here, but it's kind of encroaching towards the farther end of his arm. So maybe I would give it a bit more rim light there. Maybe it's angled way almost like at a 45 degree instead of like a 90 degree. So it's right behind him, but far away. So a lot of his rear side will be hit by the light, and that's why there's also rim light here on the shoulders. So instead of the light is being like that, I made the light something like this. So it's kind of pointing more forward towards the camera than just straight down. I am also not sure. I think changelings are they're not elves. They're different race than elves. They usually have an innate ability to transform. Yeah, I mostly play the basic races. I don't draw too much because the hard part is keeping up with new skill sets, right? But most of the time I play the basic classes and then just mix my class. That's where I find the spice. But I do play a different kind of elf, like from the recent campaign I have. It's a Mark of the Shadow elf, so it's not a normal elf, but it's still like a generic elf with sprinkles on top. Yeah, it's fun. It's really a cool social game, and I find it fun when the spontaneity of problem solving comes into play, and then everything's just it's just funny. And it kind of works because the DM has no choice but to give us a chance to make it work. So yeah, that's the most fun I get from playing DnD. Actually, the person who commissioned me this is my party mate. So we are playing the same campaign, but this character is not part of that campaign. It's for a different campaign he plays. He also plays. Oops, not that. That's it, a bit too much there. Alright. But so far it's looking decent. I just need to really add these details. Okay, I postponed this gold trimmings long enough, so I better start working on it. So what I'm trying to do here is just adding some of the values. I think that will be correct, because I'm kind of going off with a general guess, because it's a really reflective material. There's a scale to measure reflectiveness, but I can't remember what it's called. Now we're just gonna add more color in that, like shadows casted from its reflection. Hopefully I pull this off correctly, and if I do, it will look like gold. If I do. Maybe a bit more yellow here. I'm gonna angle this one. I gotta ask the DM if he's still accepting players. Usually, I kind of joined late in the party. They were already doing their campaign, and I joined mid-campaign. But yeah, I gotta ask. It's usually we're on a bit of a break, because we're still sorting out schedules and stuff. So last session, I think we didn't have the full list of players available. So yeah, I gotta ask for the DM for if he's still accepting players, because right now we're around 7 players, and I DM'd myself trying to handle 8 players. Was it 8? Yeah, 8 players. It's kind of a hectic job. Yeah, you have to keep track of everyone's skills, what they could do, what the effects are, and then you also have to worry about your own mobs and monsters, and then you have to worry about the general plot. You need to come up with impromptu scenarios if your players are a bit crazy and just do random stuff. So yeah, it's kind of really taxing for the DM to have a lot of players. But yeah, I'll definitely ask him. I did run a campaign before, but I got busy, so I kind of told my players to be on a break, and I also planning to move my game to a better platform, because we're doing DnD online. The one I used before was a bit clunky, and it doesn't really hold much assets, like backgrounds and characters, so I kind of wanted to move the game to a more stable platform for D&D games. Yeah. So yeah, my campaign is on a break, because I usually do my sessions on a Sunday. Sunday is like the D&D day for me. But I got hold up with personal projects, right? So what I did, because you need to prepare your campaign before the actual session, so you need to write stuff, plan the campaign ahead of time, and that time I could not afford. So yeah, I kind of have to postpone the campaign temporarily. And I told my players about it, and they're okay with it. Although they're asking me to if there's a new session. I just told them that yeah, if I'll let them know if there's a new if the session is open again. But yeah, maybe once I get my my bearing good again,
That's fine. I mean, most of the players in my campaign are also new-ish to the game. They played before, but they're not like veterans. S- they just they're also a bit new-ish, new to the game, relatively new. Because I played third edition before when I was in college, and there's just this one campaign, and yeah, so I have to relearn everything when I play 5e. This one needs more yellow and highlights. That's the color. Okay, again, I think. Oh, okay, it's starting to save. All right. Okay, now I get what I need to do. I kind of have this eureka moment. I love this track. Holy shit. So cyberpunky. Damn. So now we're gonna balance out the colors. There you go. It's kind of decent. I could just cross-reference it to a reference it later. For now, it's gonna work. On this darker value, I think it should work kind of the same. Like the total value should diminish, but you could still see some highlights here and there. But that will also be diminished because the general area is cast in shadow, and a golden shadow is dimmer. I don't know. I'm just using common sense here. Yeah, it kind of works, I guess. Kind of looks shiny on this part. I can't tell on my second computer because my second computer is a TV actually. It doesn't have the best colors on it. So I'm drawing on my display tablet, which has a better color gamut. So I hope that actually looks decent. Oh, thanks, man. Alright. So now I want to do some trimmings on this color. Maybe I need to match the width of this color to the other side. Yeah, that's one more thing that you need to worry about, the color values of the monitor. So yeah, it's really hard for me to calibrate my own monitors because I'm actually colorblind. I have deuteranopia. So I'm colorblind with orange and greens. So I have to have a good reference point of what the color actually looks like, and then transfer it to the monitor, which is a good thing because my drawing tablet has good settings default. So I just tried to copy it as best as I could with my second monitor, but my second monitor doesn't have the same contrast, so it looks washy on my second monitor. Yeah, that's why it's kind of hard for me to get the driver's license, but I did get my student's license. I guess it doesn't really matter when it comes to street lights, but I can't be a pilot. Yeah, I mean, it's the subtle colors of orange and greens. That's the color I'm really having a hard time distinguishing. Like a yellow paper would sometimes would look to me like it's green, or if it's orange and green, I couldn't like the subtle pastel color of orange and greens. I can't distinguish those. So what I do is I have palettes for skin tone ready, so I know what the general color I need for skin tones. Oh yeah, the glasses. Have you tried those glasses? Yeah, I've seen those, but I've heard they're expensive. So yeah, I'm sticking with my default beads, eye beads. Yeah. So yeah, I just work around it, and it kind of works so far. The problem is if I'm working on a color that I am new to or haven't used that much, so there's gonna be a lot of trial and error in that case, because plotting out colors is easier than trying to distinguish the color transitions between a piece, because that's where you compare like the general lighting and the local color of objects. That's where it comes to really difficult for me, especially with skin, because they have a tint of orange and violets and greens. So most of the time my skills are my skin color are actually flat. So I have to take some time to really observe how I paint skin, which is okay. I take it as a challenge. So I'm just going to transfer this color right here. There we go. Then maybe some around this color, because this color is actually facing this light source. So I'm going to grab this color here and paint it over here. Maybe a bit more light for value. A slider value here. And of course, we're gonna put some highlight there. Like that. And give it a really good hot white streak. So does it look weird to you that when you have to do that? Not really, because in my eyes, that's how I've always see things. That's how I always see the world. So to me, it's just trying to convert what I'm seeing into what other people see. So I have to consider, okay, I'm colorblind to this, so if I put this color more, if I give this color more saturation, it would be the exact amount of color that I want. So I just recalibrate what I see to what I want others people to see. So yeah, that's why I have palettes on the side to help me remember those adjustments. But most of the time, I just go off with, if you've been doing that for a long time, you get a feel of where the color should be. If it looks nice to you, to me, I would adjust it a bit to the right, like in contrast. I mean, in saturation a bit, especially on certain colors, so that it would look correct to others. Yeah. But it's kind of hard when I'm dealing with new colors like alien skin. Like this one. This guy has a grayish color, but because of the light setup, it looks like green, right? Because you have a blue light source and then there's like a orange secondary light source, so most of the shadow will look green. Most of the highlights will look greenish on his skin, so I have to tone it down and make sure that enough color is showing through. So now I'm gonna design this lock on his jacket. It's not really a lock, it's more like a button. Here I'm just going to add more stuff. Maybe this. So in my head I'm trying to sort out the form of this lock. This what do I call this? Fastening button. Yeah, those. So I have to figure out what shape they'll be, and I have to come up with the design. So in this regard, I kind of suck with ornamental design because I always end up with just noodling. Noodling is just when you do this in a painting, like you draw noodles and you put some highlight and it would mimic an actual, like it would seem like there's actual design on there, but it's just texture for like a shifting value in textures, but there's no actual design. So if you look back, it looks like there's something there, but when you zoom in, it's noodles, and that's why it's called noodling. But yeah, gonna have to actually design some of that here. That's why I envy what's that artist's name? YLC? I forgot his name, but he's really good with like making those ornaments, like fine details, but it's not like really refined. It's still rough, but it sells the feeling of ornamentation and design. Yeah, controlled chaos. It's really good. Yeah, for me, I'm still way off on that regard, so I can't really pull it off. But with enough practice, I'll be able to. If you practice it enough, you'll be able to do it. So I'm blending colors just so I could have some texture on the painting, because some of these are badly blended with the blending modes. So here I'm just kind of pushing paint. Make sure that there is some structure here and there, and it's not just a random brush strokes. So maybe this is a decent structure for that. That could be fine, but I'm not sure. Same down here, we're gonna add those same pattern. Here you could draw the details of some of the elements of the details, what I mean. And you don't really have to be fastidious about it. I just get the general shape and feeling of it, and then you could just always just finish it up and tighten things out later. Oops. Now make sure it has the same lighting area than this one. Maybe color pick those are the same colors. And later we're gonna apply some rendering to this area of the painting to make it look like gold or something shiny. Now I'm curious if you need more glasses. Yeah, I think it would be great to test it out and see how fucked up my eyes are. Because you know the test, the colorblind test, like there's dot and then there's a multicolored circle with multiple dots and you need to identify the number. I failed that. I can't see shit. So I wonder how much of the world I'm actually missing. So that'll be a nice experience to have. But maybe soon. Maybe if the technology and the production of such glasses becomes cheaper, it'll be more readily available to like everyone. So maybe I'll wait for that. But for now, it's it's back to the swatches. I wonder if Paul is still here. Oh, $300. It's fairly cheap. But imagine, I could. What can I get for the $300? I could get a better mic than the one I'm using. I could get a better monitor. But yeah, I'll definitely figure it out once I get some leg room for expenditures. But yeah, that would be nice to have actually. But isn't it like tinted? Yeah, I could buy a PS5 finally because they're releasing more copies than the scalpers could buy, so the prices will eventually drop in a few months. So yeah, that's one more option. But yeah, from what I've seen, those glasses are tinted, right? They're like shades instead of reading glasses. Or maybe that's the earlier prototype version. Oops. Alright, so we got some details on that, which we're just gonna flesh out later. We could also add more etchings on the trimmings of the jacket, but that's gonna come later. I want to fix this arm because it's green. It's hella green right now. So I want to tone down that yellow by introducing some of the pale blue color here and there. I'm gonna make sure that the shading is still intact, so I don't want to ruin the values. Well, I'm gonna just repaint it over. The reason why maybe it's green because I used an overlay layer for that. That's why it blended with the blue. But now I'm gonna add more orange into it. Instead of it blending, it's gonna paint on top of the blue. Let's see how that works out. Yeah, so it might affect how I see values if it's that tinted, but maybe that's just a filter for the eyes, like what do you call that, anti-glare glasses. We'll see. I haven't read on the technology of those glasses, because the same thing, I can't put like screen filters on my monitors because they affect the colors, especially the blue light. So they won't. It's gonna affect the paintings and stuff. So I have to be nitpicky on how much tools I'm using. How much of the tools I'm using is gonna affect my work. Given that my own eyes also affects my works. I think that's more yellow than green. Just fair enough. Maybe add a bit more color there. I always wanted to try them on just to see if my vision could change at all. Do you also have color blindness? TNT Not Dynamite, do you also have color blindness? Because there's like a test for you. There's like an easy test to do to check if you have. Yeah, take the test. There's like a free online test. Just Google colorblind test. Because it's even if you have the inaccurate monitor, it's the color wavelength that your eyes are not picking, but the rods and cones of your eyes couldn't pick certain wavelengths of light. So that's when you could identify what colors you're colorblind to. So it's more of a physical anomaly in our eye sockets, eyeballs actually. If what I remember was correct. Oops. Alright. I'm also gonna take a short break after I finish this arm, because we've been streaming straight for 1 hour and 20 minutes, so I'm gonna take a 5-minute break to stretch my legs and drink some water. Yeah, because even though I have the drawing tablet really close to me on my table, I still lean forward to it because it's on an angle. It's not flat on the table, so my back is also hunched forward, which is not the best position to draw. But you know, there's the sacrifices you have to do. And I'm at the point in my life that my back is cursing me to death. You just need to adjust this a bit more. And that's good to hear. Yeah, because there's like a trick question there that there would be no numbers, so it's hard to there's like false positives, and there's no false positives on the test. They have like a controlled they have a control on the test, like a control in experiment. It's like a certain factor or a test scenario that would eliminate false positives. Yeah, but yeah, most of them are. Yeah, I think most of the tests there are false positive proof. I'm not sure. I'm not an ophthalmologist actually. I'm just going by what I've read when I looked it up and research what I could do with my eyes. Okay, I'm gonna branch this out like that, because it's forming that weird line that I don't like. Alright, I'm gonna introduce that blue here too, just so to wash out the yellow, so it doesn't really, you know, too much. Alright, now we're gonna paint this hard edge. Alright. Now we will focus on the cane he has next, and then the belt, and then the rest of the painting. Put in the overlay, put in that. Yeah, it's looking decent. We're a bit closer to finishing it. So, can you see how color works? Yeah. Yeah, it's the angle of your cones and rods. Like if it's Yeah, I think that's it is. Like how short or long those cones in your retina is. Well, that's a bit for now. I'm gonna take a 5 minute break and I'll be right back. Thanks again for those who joined me. I'll be just taking a stretch and drinking some water to clear my throat. All right, I'll be right back.
back. Nice break. So now we're gonna focus on, yeah, the cane. And these hands are kind of fucked up at the moment because you see that's not how the hand works. Normally it should have the variation in orientation. So let me just show you how it should work. So these are the knuckles, right? Just like the knuckles, and this is the structure of the hand. So it's tilting towards the camera. This one should be more like that. This should be more facing downwards. These are more tucked in, and this too. That should be. That's how that orientation should look. So our goal is to paint it towards that orientation because it's grasping something beneath it, and it shouldn't look like that. So we're gonna do it now. So just painting over stuff. This is what I like about this. After laying the color values, you could paint over stuff really easily. You don't have to settle on things. Let me remove that for a bit. It's affecting my colors. So this color overlay is on top of the rest of the painting. So I kind of later I'm gonna tone that down. And what it does, it blends all the colors into one scene. TNT Dynamite. Got some good stretches. Yeah, it was a good break. Stood for at least 6-7 minutes. my spine cracked, which is nice. I cracked my spine, which is not advisable, but that's how my spine works. I managed to pop it. So let's make sure we're not painting on the wrong layer. Okay, that's cool. So that's the structure of the hand, and we're just gonna paint towards that goal. Turn off the overlay and then just paint away. You know what I wish I could have is like the relaxing voice of Bob Ross. I think Adam, yeah, Lucid Pixels was because they're just really relaxing to listen to. Most often I work with their videos playing in the background just as white noise, and it's really soothing to hear their voices. So this is the pants. Should just paint that out. Okay. Now we're gonna add some shadows and some form on the fingers. First, I'm gonna focus on the shading from the top right, so the basic structure of the hands in regards from the first lighting setup. So this will be cast in shadow first, and since we have a secondary light source coming below, like in front of the character, we're gonna
consider that later. So right now we have the form down. I'm thinking where I could put some cast shadows here. So this one is a bit more darker because they're tucked in. So more tucked in than these two. So I'm gonna add some cast shadow over there. And this one, I have to push this out more. Yeah, they have great mics. I'm planning to invest on a better, newer mic, because the one I'm using right now is just a generic headset mic. So everything's bad, bad quality. But yeah, I'm planning to invest on that soon. It's my next to buy thing. I planned this character to have a ring, but I think I'm second guessing that decision. Just so I could have some rest on these fingers, because this is gonna get busy. The cane, there's like a snake wrapping around the ivory handle of the cane. So I want to have this fingers to be a rest against the busy details of the game. So that, that I'm gonna get the mic itself. Yeah, it's like a mic on a stand. Yeah, the design I did myself, and the guidelines were the race, and then it has to look like The Greatest Showman with Hugh Jackman here. So that's the parameters. So these are my reference board. So this is the Changeling race. So I got their color pigment, the hair, and the attire for Hugh Jackman, which is more of a because this character is a bard, so he has that showman type, but he's also a bit, he has an edge of sinister aura with him. So that's what I'm trying to do here. So yeah, the designs are original, but this the character is given to me by the client. So I sent him the original sketch. I'll show you the original line work for this. Let me just hide this here. So that's the original line work. So I showed that to him, and then he approves it. Okay, I like it. And then I just start working on it. So that's how I usually work. It's a different thing when you're working on personal projects than with clients, because you have to, you're also my client, so that's fine. You know how it goes. Yeah, is he trying to introduce everything in the company? Yeah, he probably will. So back in our painting layer, I'm going to turn this off, and then yeah. I tend to be more shortcut-y, like more lazy with my personal stuff, because especially with my comics, because I know for the fact that I'm gonna draw the same character bajillion times throughout the entire series, so I need to have a design catchy enough visually, but easy enough to draw. Because I don't have assistants, so I have to draw every character and background myself. So that's one thing I consider when designing characters for personal projects. And that's usually better off, because I don't get good. Yeah, because time is also a factor when it comes to comics. I want to at least have a decent turnout pages when I work on the comics, because I want to at least finish the series before I die. Within my lifetime, I mean. Yeah, given that One Piece is now chapter 1000, it's like, how the fuck? Right? Imagine the time spent working on that series. Yeah. Also, my fellow comic makers here in the Philippines are also getting they're all returning back to their series, so I need to catch up to them so I don't get left behind. Because I also want to finish my series. Yeah. Oh, is the music too loud? Let me turn it down a bit. Is that better? So yeah, I'm guessing my comic book series will last at least several volumes, but nothing close to a long novel. It's gonna be more a medium length, so at least I could finish one story and then work on another. Yeah, I mean it's the thingamajig on the left side of the stream. That one, Path of the Raging Twist. So it's a shonen-y type of comic. I wrote it like almost 2013. I started working on it 2013, and I managed to finish 10 chapters. And then I decided to reboot it, and I finished one chapter of that. And then I started working on films as a concept artist, and then that took me 2 years, and I wasn't able to continue working on the comics. And now I'm trying to get back to the speed of things and working on my personal project, including the comics. That's why I also started streaming. So as I start working on my personal comics, me working on it live would be like a way of interacting with my readers and, just general people who wanted to watch my stream. So yeah, that's the plan, but we gotta start small. At least we're starting somewhere. Yeah, because my comics is gonna be free, so it's free to read everywhere. So it's gonna be mostly that. It's a pure passion project that I really want to be completed. At least that's one in the bag. So right now I'm just adding some details on the hand, but not too much. I want it to be quite less detailed, less cluttered or busy. So this pinky doesn't suit right to me. I need to tuck this way inside the hand. So I'm gonna change the orientation of that pinky, and instead of showing the underside of the car pulse, I'm gonna just tuck the rest of it in that, making it like, and then changing the values because it is way inside, tucked way inside, and then changing the dimensions. And there we go. And then just indicating that it is stuck down here, adding more details and a darker shadow. And you need to make sure that I made enough form and details here so I could differentiate the surfaces of the finger, the pinky. Again, this is without the secondary layer. You ever thought about doing an ecchi comic series? Yeah, I have a few in mind, but I haven't find the time to start drawing it. I have the story, the general plot, but the way I write my comics is I need to know the general plot structure, and then I'll write the chapters as I work on that certain chapter. So the chapter would be the lead up to the certain plot points that I have in mind. So I could extend it, prolong it, depending on the pacing that I want for the comics. So yeah, it's more of a free flow. Like, but yeah, I have the major plot points written down. I just haven't worked on everything else on that regard. Yeah, I think I told you about that, like the body switch thing. Yeah, but it's not gonna be ecchi. It's gonna be rom-com. But for an ecchi series, maybe I could add a bit of an ecchi scene there. I'm planning on doing some like H stuff in the future, but that's a bit down the line. I need to get my bearing first. So yeah, I guess I've managed to correct the orientation of the hands here. Or maybe I could add more details here and there. And then we're gonna add yeah, it is quite common, like it is a good trope, but I want to have like a certain element of the story that would make it kind of unique, but not entirely, because you can't really create something that is original at this point in time. Like if you trace back, it's gonna be it's a long, you could trace every story back to the cave drawings in the Neolithic period. So yeah, nothing beats like the old, nothing could beat the old masters. So yeah, it's mostly the delivery. That's where the rubber meets the road. A premise is as good as a trope. You know, a premise becomes a trope because it's a catchy premise, right? But the delivery of the premise really differentiates a good story with the same trope than a bad story with the same trope. So yeah, it all comes down to delivery, execution. So right now I'm just gonna start working on the cane, which is gonna be a bit tricky. First I need to cast the shadow from the hand. It's gonna be like this. Oh yeah, I gotta put the secondary lighting here. Damn. This track fucking kicks. I don't know the cool term kids use these days, but yeah, this track kicks. Kicks balls, kicks ass. I'm really too old for this shit. And now just adding some secondary light source on the hands right now. And I'm thinking it should reflect some of that candlelight in front of the character. And this middle finger needs a bit more fold right here. The first segment of the carpal is a bit long, so I need to tone it down. And there you go. Also this, yeah, I realized the anatomy of my hand is not really on par. I need to correct that before anything else. Let me just flip the image real quick. Yeah. It needs a bit more work. Maybe I could also flip this downward. Now let me change this real quick. There you go. And then just adding some color that would show the secondary lighting here. Again, not gonna be really on point with the values here. Just blend those in. I'm gonna use a soft brush right now. I guess I'm just laying out the light sources. Oops. Maybe this one. There you go. Alright. Kind of getting there. I want this to be more blue. It has that yellow tint in it. On it. So I need to adjust that. And also this one. Maybe blend. There you go. Looks decent. But this pinky is bothering me. I need to really pay attention to that. There you go. Nice. I'm kind of okay with that. I'm just gonna add more details. Now, we need to add some shadows on this part of the cane because the arm is casting a shadow on it. Maybe a bit more. Why doesn't it doesn't really pop up? Oh, there you go. It has the same value range. That is really dark. And then some cast shadow here. We're gonna fix that later. Right there. It's a cast shadow. Alright, now we could start, we're gonna start working on the, okay, I'm gonna go back to my hard ground brush so I can plot out the details of it. And then I'll just worry about the blending later. Alright, again, I'm zooming in too much. It's a really bad habit of mine. Man, I'm getting excited seeing it finished. I know it's gonna it's up to me to do that, which is quite annoying. Let me flip it, so just to check if there's some biases that my brain is forming towards the image. The jaw needs work and the mouth, I need to adjust that. They're not yeah, that needs a bit of warp. I just need to warp it a bit. So why do you flip an image? It's for your brain to reset and refresh the image that you're looking at, because you're looking at it in a certain way and your brain develops a bias towards that orientation. So you might be committing mistakes on the drawing and on the painting, and your brain, since it's developed that bias, it automatically agrees to it, and it just tells you that that looks great. So what happens when you flip it, it's like resetting that image in your brain, and you get the fresh eye and look at the details and what's wrong with the painting, where can you improve, what else is need a lot of work on. So that's why you flip the image. Traditionally, old masters would line their painting against a mirror to check any discrepancies in their painting, especially portraits. Or they would sketch the entire painting in pencil and do all the corrections there, so when they transfer it to the actual painting, it's perfect already. So that's how that works. So right now we're just adding more details all over the place, but mainly, again, don't zoom in. We're just adding more stuff here. Right now, the color should be more intense around this area. So instead of adding saturation, I'm just gonna put in a highlight, a higher value range in here, and that contrast will give me that intensity of light. We're just adding more values to it, but at the same time we're gonna be designing this thing, but as I've said, it's gonna be a snake. It's like an engraving of a snake. It's not an engraving, it's an ornamentation of a snake wrapping around the ivory handle of the cane. And that's gonna give us that kind of a sinister
to it. So it should wrap around this point. The perspective of this is quite flat. It's straight in the middle, right? There's no like changing elevations, whatever. So it's just basically a flat camera angle. So it's a dead-on camera. So that saves me a lot of time figuring out angles and perspective. But since this is a character, the reason I choose that that shot for this specific piece, because it's a character portrait for DnD, so it has to show most of the character traits and, you know, just a showcase for the character in general. So you have I've factored that in into. It's not out of laziness. That's what I was saying. It's not out of laziness that I choose this shot. It's with purpose. Yeah, right. No, of course I'm being serious here. Yeah, because it's a character showcase, so you know, for the purpose of showing a character in one single illustration, it works well. Because if I choose a dynamic angle in this, it's gonna obscure a lot of stuff, and for the pose, for the theme, for the purpose of the illustration, this flat shot works well. I mean, of course, you could do dynamic shots for any illustrations. I mean, those are like, especially for like splash arts. That's great. I'm thinking about League of Legends splash arts. Those are really great ones with their dynamic. Angles and composition. Now I need to catch up with this area of the thing. I'm just waiting for the autosave. Even if there's an autosave, I keep it's a muscle memory thing, like a habit to just hit Control S. It's a good habit to have. You know, it will only take you a few ruined paintings to learn that habit, because the file get corrupted or your software crash. Yeah, it only takes a few of those mishaps to really for the habit to really be kicking in. Alright. Now I'm just having this crisscross thing, which I guess would work. Yeah, it's like the grip of the handle, but more ornamental take. So right now I'm just plotting the light source and where the light is gonna hit. Alright. Just adding more stuff here, adding a bit of highlight here and there. Again, I'm thinking about the shape of the cylindrical shape of the snake, so that would affect how I would
put the light on it, considering the shape. So there's gonna be some cast shadow here, so I'm gonna put that and make an angle just so I could emphasize the cast shadow. That, and then I will catch up with it with the ivory later. Alright, same goes here. Since I'm considering the light sources down, where is that layer? Is it this one? Not this one. So the light source is coming right around here, like in front of the character. Like that. So I'm just trimming down the details. You know, there's a lot of noodling happening when I was creating this rough layout. So I'm just cleaning that up and adding more, not much details actually, but just more form, so I don't have to figure the form out later once I start detailing it. So this one, I should have more leeway here. There we go. And then this color here. Yeah, it's looking decent, I guess. It has more variety than the other parts, so I need to balance that out and make it so and so, like 50-50. See, this looks lighter than this one because of this shadow. If I put this becomes more lighter. That's how value and color is relative to each other, to the next color or value. That's why you can't say red is just red. It needs to be red and related to this blue next to it. So it has to be something like that, especially with painting. So when you imagine a red shirt, you don't paint the shirt in just a flat red, because it has to be, okay, you see under the sun, inside the room, what the light source, what's the color of the light source, it's kind of like that. So you have to consider those in a painting. I think the term is color constancy, I think. Color constants. The same goes with values. If you've seen those optical illusions of the chess pieces, that one of the box squares, they're actually the same value. It's just because one of the pieces casting a shadow onto it, and your brain thinks it's actually darker than the white squares, but they're the same value, the same thing. It's the same phenomena. But of course, that's just one of the, one of the techniques that you could use to any piece. And you could decide not to use it at all. Like if you want to go, yeah, just splash right onto it. That's completely fine. Rules are there just as guide, not a mandatory thing. The rule of thirds, whatever rules there is, it is there to help you compose stuff, and it's up to you to play around it. Show your artistic individuality through the style and how you bend the rules. Those rules. So right now I'm having a decent time with the snake, and I'm ready to detail it. Maybe I'll take this part off, and it's too much. I want this to be just a single snake wrapping around the handle. And I haven't decided where to put the head. I know. I'm gonna wrap it around here. Oops. So far, the way my brushes works in Clipping Studio after I imported it from Photoshop, they work fine. They work 100% as is, as I use them in Photoshop. So it's a really good feature Clipping Studio has now. I have no reason to paint in Photoshop now. Because every feature that they have there, maybe if when it comes to graphical stuff like making a graphics or a landing page, sure, I'll use Photoshop. But for painting exclusively, I'm gonna be using the Paint Studio. I'm planning to make some guides, video tutorials on that in the future. But I'm still working out what are the series of guides I would make that could help most people. Because I use Photoshop, Clipping Studio in a certain way that I'm not sure that everyone are using them in that particular way. So I need to get a decent consensus on that. Alright, now the head. I need to balance out the width of this snake around here because it's a bit too thin compared to the other one, the other side of it. Also this one. It's a bit too thin. And then maybe I want this to be, I want this to wrap around like that. Add that ivory there. Then wrap it like that. Like it's, you know how constrictor, yeah, like how boas would wrap their bodies in an S shape. And this is not a viper, it's more of a python. Constrictors, yeah. Forgot the terms. Because viper is a species, right? It's one of the species of snakes that is poisonous. I forgot the more accurate term for poisonous snakes rather than the constrictor ones. There you go. So we need to add the head. Maybe it would wrap on this side, so just so that the camera could see it. So I'm just gonna draw the snake off the bat. Boa constrictors have a rounder eyes, and they have a box, like a box head. Vipers more of a round head. There was like that infographic that differentiates the difference between a poisonous snake, a venomous, not poisonous, venomous snake, and a constrictor. But I'll cross-reference it later. And now we're gonna add a bit of detail here. Just a sparse detail. Not gonna dive into it too much. I want to make sure that it's consistent, like the body of the snake is consistent with the rest of it. Maybe the head is too big. Adding more stuff here and there. I'll need to add the shadow that is casted from the light source. Maybe like that. Then there we go. Just adding more, making sure the contour of it is just fine. Or maybe I could wrap him around here, like that. Instead of wrapping around, it's gonna be like he. Sidewind it over there from that. Alright, seems to be decent. And then I could wrap this body maybe more towards here and add some like that. Alright. Seems like we have alright. Yeah, it kinda works. It's kinda cool. I don't know what's going on with the belt. I kind of put some random shapes there. It looks like a fucking Kamen Rider belt. But anyways, I'm gonna sort that out later. I think we fixed the ivory. Well, we're gonna put this color here. Make sure that it's actually at least it will look like ivory. And that's another thing I have to work on.
There we go. So the pants, I need to orient it better. It's kind of wishy-washy right now. Just need to define the folds of the clothes of the pants. Why is this so? This one doesn't. It's not brown. What the hell? Okay, I need to fix that. Alright. Let me check. Okay, saving. Oops. Yeah. It's getting there. It's getting there. And that's our 1 arm mark. You know, I would know 1 hour has passed because my back starts to ache. So yeah, it's time for another 5 to 7 minute break, and I'm gonna be right back to finish the rest of the details. Alright, I'll be right back. back right onto it. Turn those off. Alright, now we're gonna add some details to this thing. Also on that note, I'm gonna grab some reference photos. Python. Oh, there it is. Yep, it's detail time. So grab some reference for the Python. So my first assumption was off the mark. It's actually the venomous ones have the square head. Pythons have a more rounder head, and their eyes are on the side. They're more of the side here than forward. So there's a difference anatomically between those two. So let me just put that closer to the reference area. Let me just look at it, immerse myself on the forms. Okay. Now we're gonna paint this snack boy some form. You got those lump in the head. And then the eyes would be on the side. Do they have brows? Like eyebrows? No. I think brows are for Pythons. The eyes are more to the side, and they have the socket also to the side. They have this bridge and then the nose. And then the round face. So round that off. Of course, the snout is still flat, but it has more taper than normal. So this is how you use a reference. You don't want to trace it. What you want to do is how many hours are into the piece now? If I total around 12 hours, 14 hours. So I usually finish a piece around the 16-hour mark. So yeah, we're really close. So after I finish some details, some corrections, because I don't have to detail everything, just the focal points, especially with high density areas like the hands, the face, some details in the ornament. Those are the only areas I need to detail. The rest could be a mixed blend. So especially for illustrations like this one, and it would depend on the project, right? If it's like high detail anime
illustration. For example, for games, for load screens, that requires a lot more detail and a lot more hours. Like I would spend 48 hours on an illustration like that. But for the usual, run-of-the-mill illustrations, around 16 hours. It's just that I have to juggle, schedules and other clients. So yeah, even if it takes me 16 hours, that's like accumulatively. This is just the drawing part and the painting part. So it doesn't include breaks and other stuff. For comics, it's a lot faster because I don't have to worry about the painting. The most strenuous task with comics is the inking and the toning, but it's a lot easier because it's monochromatic. And colored comics usually have a simpler color scheme and rendering, so you don't have to paint as much. That's why one of my favorite comic book artists is Alex Ross, because his technique is amazing, and I couldn't fathom how could I replicate that. Yeah, so it's black and white. Yeah, I have Alex Ross Kingdom Come. I bought it like 2 years ago. Actually, I've been wanting that book since I was like high school, and it was just too expensive. And I was able to buy it because my girlfriend at the time lent me some money, and I paid it off eventually. So yeah, it's because of that. Now I have my hands on one of the best books that I really wanted. One of the best books it's like one of the books I really want to have. I also have a collection of Tolkien books, but it's not complete yet. I don't have the new ones, and I don't have Beren and Luthien and Fall of Gondolin. And some of the obscure stuff, like the Dwarf story, I forgot. Untold Tales, yeah. I don't have that yet. So hopefully I could finish the collection. Okay, back to our reference. Seeing how the mouth actually forms right here, like that. So I need to get a feeling of that. So when I look at an image like this, I consider the form. Let's see. So if this is the angle of it, right? So that's the basic shape. And then I would contour the basic. I would reduce it to this oval shape, this oval shape, this oval shape. Oops. So it's more oval than circular, and then you just connect the shapes right there. And that's how you could deconstruct any 3D form into a 2D plane. And that's a very helpful skill to have. So yeah, that's how you could use a reference. So you could this, you could draw anything once you get the hang of it. So of course the center line is like that. So yeah, this works with hard surface and then soft surface, like creatures like this. So yeah, I'm just applying those fundamentals right on the canvas, so I don't have to draw the structure itself because it's in my head already. And that takes time to get used to, but the more you do it on your sketches, on your studies, the more natural it becomes. The 3D form becomes, your eyes naturally see them even in everyday objects. You could draw a vase from different angles without turning the actual vase. So we got the basic shape there. I'm not gonna add more lines in that. So the details will come with the values and the painting itself. So once you got the basic forms, you could just paint away. Okay, so now we got some basic shape and details. Some of the details done. The rest is gonna be the scales and how the body contorts, since it's not a real snake. It's a gold engraving cast onto the ivory handle. I could replicate like the minute changes in the skin, but I don't have to, because it would add more believability of it being a gold, cast snake. Okay, we could turn off the reference now. So as you can see, the values on this area has a huge range of values, and on the cane there's barely any. So you are first drawn here in the face and then down here. So that's where, especially when you put this on, that's the direction. So your eyes hit the face and then down the cane. That's why I didn't put too much emphasis on, for example, the coat, the sleeves, even though it has a lot of folds. I didn't put too much detail on it because I don't want your eyes to go around, especially the curtains to the side. I don't want your eyes to go here. There's barely any detail in it, and contrast, so that your eyes is stuck in the middle of the painting. And the general composition also says that there's like two pillars here, and then the central image, the lighting also helps with that. So yeah, it's like every fundamentals is pinpointing your you to look at this character here. TNT not dynamite. That is definitely a good thing to know. Yeah, it's part of one of the fundamentals of art, of drawing in general. Yeah, you need to deconstruct complex shapes like that snake head. Like, let me bring that up. Sorry, guys. So it's a complex shape, right? You have this ridges, you have that. So it's quite a complex shape. So if you approach it like, oh, I need to draw this spaghetti boy, and consider this ridge on top of his body, like that. So it's gonna be hard to really grasp the concept of it. But if you approach it to simplify it first, like, okay, so the head is there's a lot of shapes in the head, but if you reduce it to 1, 2, and 3, then you could draw the shape in any angle. Like that. So yeah, depends. It comes down to deconstructing a complex shape into a simple one, so that you could manipulate it and have an easier time understanding the forms of the shape. How long do you usually stream for? Around 2 to 3 hours. We're almost at the 3-hour mark, but I'll definitely try to finish the piece before I close off. So yeah, around the 3-hour mark. So yeah, it's the same with anything, right? And you could use the same shapes to draw shapes to draw a human figure. Like that. So yeah, it depends on it's if you break down complex stuff into basic shapes. Understanding the structure becomes easier than just straight up drawing the entire thing manually. So yeah, it's what I learned from trying to do concept art, because the finesse itself doesn't matter. What matters is the drawing, the fundamentals, because what you're trying to sell and the concept design is what's in it, what's in the drawing itself, what's the design itself. So it doesn't matter the style, it doesn't matter if you have a good rendering or material rendering skills. What matters is the design, and to come up with a good design, you need to have a good understanding of shape language. And yeah, it's like it's a basic drawing fundamental that I just picked up from trying to learn how to do concept design. Because before I do that, I was working on my own comics, and I don't have that good grasp of 3D forms. So that came a bit later in my artistic journey. All right, so we're gonna go back into the snake. So we're gonna add some shadows here. I'm gonna grab this color. Because I remember one of Feng Su's episode about mileage. He is trying to differentiate the difference between a life drawing and drawing objects in the 3D plane in your drawings. And he said that if you want to get mileage on doing that, if you draw a vase 1,000 times, then you get good drawing that vase at that particular angle only. You'll be able to draw it by memory, but it's gonna be that one angle. But if you understand the shape first, and you could replicate that basic shape into your drawing in a 3D manner, you'll be able to draw that face in any angle. So that's that's one of the fundamentals. He was mentioning that in a live drawing, you don't necessarily practice 3D composition in your head, or how you break down objects into 3D forms. You're practicing gesture, you're practicing color, you're practicing how values and light interact with the object, because that's what apparent in the actual 3D live drawing, actual live drawing. So that's what he taught on that episode, and it kind of stuck to me, and that's what I also apply on my own drawings. So those are two different things that you could practice for different fundamentals. Yeah, it takes a bit of that's why it takes 2 years, as I mentioned earlier. It takes 2 years to get good at drawing. Like become decent at it. Because if you train like smart and know what fundamentals to prioritize, and just focus on it, that's around the time. That's about the around time to you become decent at it. So now, as I remember that the snake has some ridge where its spine would be located, so now I'm putting that in just by the shadow casted of the shape. Like that, and blend it towards as it tapers off the skin. More depth to it. And of course we're gonna highlight some of the bends of the skin, make sure it's shown. And then also way here. Now we're gonna add some of the detailing just to make it look like gold. Because right now it looks like a what do they call that? The python is yellow. Hey, what is happening with? Oh, right. Alright, now we're just gonna add more shape here. Make sure that I'm consistent with the flow of the body. The body. That's a Mr. Bean reference. Then I'm here. Alright. Now we could add the details here, but I want to focus on the other side first, so everything's progressing equally. Alright, so it's starting to wrap up quite nicely. I need to warp this place a bit. There's something's bugging me. But I think it's quite okay. Maybe it's the braid that's fucking me up. In my eyes, it feels like it's disjointed. It's leaning to one side. Maybe that's just how the forms work. We'll see. I'm gonna add more, just finishing up the details here. Oops, I thought that was the part of the mistake. It's not. It's like the habaki or some shit. It's like a joinery. When starting off, it is actually good to try and draw symmetrical things before tackling other poses. Yeah, I mean, you could start by drawing basic shapes. Usually, if you get a good grasp of the human anatomy, you could draw any creature after that, because the bone structures, you're just gonna change it up a bit. Like with mammals, other bipedal. Let me delete these layers. Oh, did I delete something important? Yeah, I almost did. Alright, so with, for example, the human leg, right? This is the femur, this is the patella, that's the kneecap, this is the tibia, and fuck, what's the other bone? There's another bone, tibia and ulna. No, that's ulna in radius. Tibia and fuck, I forgot my bones. Shit. But anyways, there's these two bones here, and then this is the ankle, and this is the bones, right? So with other bipedal mammals, it's kind of skewed. So this is the femur, and this is the kneecap, and then the tibia and ulna is like that. Tibia and oh fuck, I really forgot. But and then this is their actual heel, their ankle. This is their ankle, and this entire thing is their feet, and they're tiptoeing like that. Ah, fibula. Yeah, that's right. So with this, if you know this, you could easily draw this, because you just change up the rules, and that could become like an AT-AT. Oh no, not AT-AT. The other one, ST something. The Star Wars drone thing. So yeah, it kind of works like that. So my advice is start with the human anatomy and then focus on that. Focus on human anatomy, the proper what do you call this, proportions, and learn how to draw 3D shapes using just by drawing human anatomy. And it's more fun doing that way, because you're drawing people. You could draw your OCs, you could draw your own characters like that. So yeah, it would take time, and then you'll be able to draw something like in an extreme perspective. Something like that. So yeah, you'll be able to do any angle once you master that. It's a good area to start. Just start with drawing, basic gesture drawings, basic anatomy, basic proportions, and then start doing perspective with that. Start with the flat camera angle, like your usual, like that, usual proportions, and that continues onwards, and then you could go to this later on once you get a better understanding of shapes. So yeah, I would suggest Modern Day James. He covered this really in depth, and he really considers the practice of doing it as a routine, right? A routine practice. So he breaks down what to draw, how to draw it, and what are the fundamentals that you should be working on in that specific area of drawing. So yeah, Modern Day James. He has a YouTube channel. And so I learned a lot from that series. He also streams on Twitch. Yeah, he also streams on Twitch. Yeah, because most guides out there are either too advanced, and some others are too specific that once you do it, okay, you know how to draw eyes, but how about the rest? With Modern Day James, he breaks down the fundamental, so you could apply it to any part of your progress. Like, okay, I could draw hands now. How about the rest of the arm? So this is just one concept that you could apply to any part. are going back here. And later I will do a quick detailing of the snake. I don't have to paint every scale, but there's a neat trick to do it. So I could get the same result without actually spending, you know, ungodly time trying to paint every single scale. So here, I'm just accentuating the light coming from the bottom side of it, and making sure that okay, this area is a bit too thin. Add a bit more volume on that part. Alright. Then add more here. Almost done. Almost done with the snake. From the detailing down to the basics. From the basic structure down to the detailing. Yeah, yeah, modern day James. He breaks down books like Scott Robertson's book about forms and materials, and he covers really good fundamental topics. He's also my go-to creator for those stuff. I learned a lot from him. Because what's great about his way of teaching is he breaks down complex stuff into bite-sized topics, so it's easier to absorb, and then you move on to the next one. So by the end of it, you have a better grasp of a complex subject, while not having the stress of trying to understand it all at the same time. Okay, there we go. We have a snake. Now we're just gonna have to make it look like gold. Of course, I could add a bit more detail here and there for the structures, for the etchings, and the crevices of the forms. So normally this would be considered as ambient occlusion, and this is where the light doesn't really reach because it is in between folds and cracks. And just enough to break down the form a bit and offer a bit more detail. There you go. Yeah, it's the best approach to anything actually, any difficult thing. I play fighting games, but I'm nowhere near decent. I just understand enough to know that I'm not good at it. So instead of trying to learn the complex mechanics of the game, I just learned, okay, this is what I could do, this is what I need to do, and just work on it one step at a time. So yeah, it's a good learning practice to anything. Alright. So the last of the agenda would be adding more details on the gloves and the snake, and maybe making the cane look more ivory, and then finishing the details on these buttons and some etchings on the trimmings of the coat. I'm gonna take a quick 5-minute bio break and I'll be right back. Alright.
but shit, I forgot. So we're back. Forgot to unmute my mic. But yeah, I'm looking for a texture brush that would help me paint the scales without actually painting it. So you can see my brushes here. This one looks decent. Yeah, that would work well. Maybe you could find a different shape. The thing with brushes is that you need to be familiar with it. So that is way better. Maybe this one. This is too close. I don't like that. This one is fair. Too random. I think that's better. This one is okay. I could control the direction, but this one is too random. This one looks more organic. It's much closer to scales. So yeah, brushes could save you a lot of time as long as you know how to use them. So that takes a lot of just practice and getting familiar with it. So let's try this out. We're gonna go with soft light, a bit of an orange here, maybe some highlight. So right now I'm just picking the spots where the light would pick up the scales, so I don't have to don't have to really go in there and paint individual scales. So this is going to be the highlights, and once we
put the final layer of it, it's gonna really pop. This is just one of the way that you could detail the painting without spending time doing it. You could also do photo textures, which is another way, but in this case, since this is just a quick way, I'm just using textured brushes. So yeah, this close, it doesn't look much. Let me remove some of that. It's a bit too much. Use this brush so that it's not uniform. And if you look far, it looks detailed, right? It looks detailed. So you don't have to look that far. So from this area, it looks like there's something there. So it's more of that feeling of it being drawn with scales rather than it actually being drawn with scales. So I'm just picking the areas where I want the highlight to pick up the scales here and there. I'm making sure that okay, it's saving again. So I'm just making sure that the pattern is quite random. Maybe I could adjust that later. So what I would do is I would do it like that and just erase a bunch of them so that I could keep it quite random. Because the thing with brushes, right, in any software is they clone a stamp. So the pattern of the brush is like a stamp, and the moment you press the stylus, it's gonna clone the stamp, unless you have some randomizer option on the brush, which on this brush it doesn't have it. So it's gonna look, it will have that pattern, repeating pattern, and human eyes is very keen on picking up patterns. So what I do just to break that pattern is to give a quick erase so it would look random, so the pattern disappears, so it doesn't look like it's from one brush like that. Same here. And like that. More here. A bit more here. Alright, so from this distance, there's enough detail there to hold. And then this is the fun part. We're gonna make a new layer, and then blending mode, color notch, and then we could pick a brush that is quite sparse in the application. I'm gonna use my trusty Fangwell brush. Oops. And just make it. Maybe screen would be a better fit. Linear burn. Color burn. Sorry, I'm figuring out what blending mode would be a better fit for this. Okay. Color burn would be better. So I would pick maybe a much more softer brush, maybe just a round brush here, and tone it down. Just adding that sheen on that is a bit more of a metallic color, and it gives off that metallic shine. Maybe it's too much of a kind of try overlay on this one. Yeah, overlay seems to work. And then we're just gonna add some highlights. Here and there. Make sure it's pointing towards the direction of the light source. Alright, so to make it really metallic, I would have to use some so let me just merge these. Let's make sure that we don't accidentally merge something else. Okay, alright, everything's in order, so merge that down so it's just one layer, and then I'm gonna add no, I'm just gonna flat out paint it. And maybe a bit more darker and more contrast and more saturation. There we go. I need another brush for that. This one will work. The hard part about this step is to not overdo it, because at this point it's so fun that you might overdo stuff and it's not gonna help the painting. So you need to be a bit more, you need a bit more control on this part. The final touches on the face, because I want more focus in the face. Some here. Maybe I could add more texture brush here. More scales. I mean, there you go. I'm happy with the results of it, and I'm probably gonna. Okay, one more thing before anything else. So since it's supposed to cast a shadow towards the ivory handle. So oops. We need to focus on that. Maybe darker. I need to be a bit more closer here, just so I could really nail the cast shadow down onto the handle, the ivory handle. I think ivory has a yellowish tint to it, so I need to apply that later because it's bone. It's technically bone. It's like has that creamy white tint. It's not purely white. Alright, and then add some of that here. I need to again apply a bit more value, a darker value here. Just adding more shadows, cast shadows all around the block. See this part, I kind of like how it turned out. I don't want to paint this part. It's gonna be one of my lost edges. It's a mirage of blur. But when you look at it, it's you know that's still part of the thing, the snake, because you know it's still the color's there. It's just it doesn't define by an edge. All right. So we are almost done. But I think I'm gonna finish this piece off stream, and I'm gonna be ending this session tonight. So yeah, let me just pull up the final imaging. I still have to work on that smoke effect. So yeah, thank you everyone who stopped by and stop by the stream. TNT Not Dynamite, thank you for hanging out with me. Everyone who shared the stream, everyone who dropped by, and hope to see you again next time. Alright, good night.